Next topic is variables and literals. Variables are used for storing the data inside the program. During the runtime of a program will store the data in variables. Variables are also called as identifiers or the name given by a programmer. Variable must be declared before it is used. So when we declare a variable, it will occupy some memory during the execution time of a program. Let us see how to declare and use a variable. So for that, already I have kept the skeleton of a program. Now here I will declare a variable. Suppose I want to declare a variable for storing a marks of some subject. So let us say I want to store marks. So integer marks. This statement is called as a declaration of a variable. So if you write like this, then this is declaration of variable. This is the variable name and this is a data type. What type of data you are going to store, based on that you can mention a data type here. Suppose marks are in integer form only, so I have declared integer. Now next thing is, if you want to assign some initial value to a variable, you can directly assign it. So this is called as initialization. Initialization is the first value given to a variable when it is declared. So this is a data type, this is the name of a variable, and this is the value assigned to a variable. So this direct value that is assigned to a variable is called as literal. Now for a variable, the very first thing is how we should give a variable name. First of all, let us learn about that. Variable name should start with an alphabet. Variable name can contain alphabets or numbers. No special characters are allowed except underscore. And lowercase and uppercase, as the language is case sensitive, so lowercase and uppercase is different variable. So let us see. I can declare a variable like x1, but I cannot declare a variable 1x. I can use roll underscore number. This special character is allowed. I cannot say roll and space number. This is not allowed. If I am writing roll number, or if I write roll number, these two are different variables. So this is valid, this is invalid, this is valid, there is a space, so this is invalid, this is valid, and this is valid, and these two are two different variables. I will show more. See, suppose you are declaring a variable for storing a roll number of a student, then it's better give a meaningful name. So give a complete name. So I can write a roll number like this also, or I can write a roll underscore number, or I can use roll and then NO. So out of these three, this is more readable, you can see, and also this is readable because this is having two words, roll and number, two words are there. So this is combined together, but to separate we can use underscore, or else we can use uppercases for separating them. So this is a better method for declaring any variable name, but you can declare as you like. It will be easy for us to read the variable name and understand it. This is about the variable name. Now let us look at declaration. When we declare a variable, it should have its data type, and if I am declaring multiple variables, so I can declare multiple variables together, m1, m2, m3. These are three variables at once I can declare. And if the data type is float, I should write float, and I can declare multiple variables for any data type. So multiple declarations are also allowed. Now next point is selecting the data type. It depends on you what type of value you are going to store. Depending on that, you can select a data type. If you know the range of integer, if the number is too large, then you should go for long, or else you can go for long. And if the float number is larger, then you can go for double also or long double also. That all depends on the problem. So based on that, you can select a data type. Now let us see how we can initialize a value to a variable. What are the ways? I am declaring a variable to store day number. See, what is the day of a week? Then suppose it is first day of a week, 1. This is one method of assigning. And same thing, I will write the same thing once again. I can assign it like this also. Like this also it can be initialized, or it can be initialized like this also in the brackets, or it can be initialized in the flower brackets, or it can be initialized with assignment and flower brackets. These are the 5 methods by which you can assign a value. Commonly, programmers use this one, but we also have these methods available in C++. These methods are introduced in C++ version 11. Earlier, this was the only method available. Now we can assign the values in any one of these ways. Now, next is literals. Means I am assigning some value here. So what are the types of values that we can assign? Let's see literals. First, I will show you integer literal. See, suppose I am taking a integer type of value, then I can assign number 10. This is a decimal number system. Or I can assign 0, 1, 0. It is starting with 0. It is prefixed with 0 means it is octal number system. In decimal, this will be 8. Or I can also assign a hexadecimal value, that is 0, x and 1, 0. If I am assigning, this will be 16 in hexadecimal form. This is a decimal number and this is octal number and this is hexadecimal number. Instead of 10, if I write 12, then this is 10 in decimal form. Instead of 10 here, if I write 41, then this is 65 in hexadecimal form. Hexadecimal 0x41 is 65 in decimal form. So for an integer type of variables, we can assign a literal in a decimal number system or octal number system as well as hexadecimal number system. These type of literals can be used for integer data type, short data type, or long data type, or long data type, or even it can be used for character data type. Let us see one more thing. If I am declaring an integer type variable day, but I am assigning 1.7, this is decimal number, I cannot assign it. So some compilers may give error here, or some compiler will truncate and remove 7.7 and assign 1 to that one. So it depends on the compiler. So it's better avoid it. Don't write decimal values, it will be wrong. Next, if I am declaring a long type of variable, distance, long distance, and here I have to assign some value 65839. Suppose this is a bigger value. The variable type is long, but what is the literal type? Literal is a integer only, but to make that literal also long, I should suffix it with L. So if you declare an integer, this will be an integer value. With L, this will be a long value. So long literals are followed by L. This was about integer literal. Now let us see float literal, how we can assign a float value. So you can pause the video and you can try it on your machine. What all I am showing you, just try to assign and see how it is working, whether it is working or not. Just try it by yourself. So you can pause the video in between. You can simultaneously type the programs and test them. Now next is float literal. If I am declaring a float variable price, then can I assign integer value? Yes, allowed. Can I assign octal number? Yes, this is also an integer literal. So to a float value, I can assign an integer literal. Integer is smaller than float, so it is allowed. But if I want to write a float value like 12.5, so yes, I can assign it like this. But one thing, by default, this value is double, because it can be float also, double also. So it's better you write F followed by this one. So 12.5 F will be a proper float literal. But some compilers allow you to write just a number without F, because it will be a tedious work for a programmer to write F every time wherever he is using float. So compilers relax this limitation, so they allow you to write this also, but actually this literal is a double literal. Without f is a double literal. Now I can even declare a variable of type float and I can assign a literal that is 1.72 E4. So this is a scientific notation. Again followed by this, I can write either small f or capital F. Suppose you are writing double type of variable weight, and weight is suppose some large value. You may be storing some large value. So 2.753 E7. As this is double literal, it is suggested you write L. Otherwise, by default, it is double only. If you want, you can write L also for a double literal. So these are the two methods for floating point literals. Now next, let us see character literals. When we declare a character type variable, suppose section, a class section A, it must be given in single quotes. If you use double quotes A, then this will be a string. It is not a character. It should be in single quotes. Or otherwise, char section, I can even write a numerical value that is 65, because 65 is the ASCII code for A. So you can either write integer literal for initializing a character type variable. So this is about a character. Then the last thing remaining is Boolean. If you declare a variable bool b, either you can assign a value true or you can assign a value false. It depends on the compiler that you are using. You can write it true in small letter, or you have to write it in capital letter, or else you can even assign value as 1. So that's all about the variables, how to declare them, how to initialize, and what are the types of literals that you can assign. And the last thing is a string. See, string is not a primitive data type, but it is a class provided by C++, and you can create variables. They are called as objects. So string, this is small letter, name John. So this is given in double quotes. So string literals should be given in double quotes. So this will be creating an object and this will be an initial value. Now one more important thing that I am going to show you, when we declare the variables and when we compile the program and execute it, then what happens in the main memory? Let us check it. If I have three variables here, A as a 10 and B as a 5 as well as C, and I have some more statements in my program, then if this is a program which is having three variables, when I compile this program and execute it, so for execution, this machine code of this program will be loaded in the main memory. So I will write just this main function. So this is the machine code, assume that. So inside the main memory, a area in which this machine code is loaded is called as a code section. So program has to be loaded in the code section. Then the processor, that is CPU, will execute the program line by line. The moment then starts executing the program, the first line says that it needs memory for variable A, B and C. So memory for these three variables will be allocated, A, B and C. Now A is having value 10 and B is having value 5, and this is garbage. So the memory is allocated inside the memory location or the memory area. That region is called as a stack. So usually stack comes here, but for convenience I will show stack here and heap there. So when we declare the variables in our program, they will occupy the memory inside the stack during the execution time of a program. So whenever we say variable, you should visualize that the memory is allocated inside the stack and the program is running inside the code section. This will help you a lot to clearly understand the execution process. So as and when required, I'll be showing this execution part of a program. Now next we will try it on our computer. I will just write the code and show you what are the literals and what are the variables. Practically I will show you.